What's approaching the supreme moment? Reality striking closer than it seems, don't it? Go ahead.
What's good? So I have done this before in a different format with the Agility Metal Cooler as lead, but I wanted to see how things would be with a 100% free-to-play Metal Cooler team with the LR Metal Cooler Army as the leader skill. So obviously a lot less. We're comparing 70% leads to 150% leads, so that is a substantial drop in terms of overall stat boost. But let's see how this team does within this criteria. So again, I'm not going to cover or include the screenshots of each of the card stats. I'll kind of talk over it as the video progresses. Most of these guys share the same type of boost in terms of the passive skill, where they get an attack and defense increase up to 80% for the most malevolent clan category allies on the team. So obviously attack and defense will increase by 15%, up to 80% for every most malevolent clan category team on the ally on the team. So in addition to that, they do have secondary passives that each are individually unique, and they complement each other and help the team overall out. So I know most of you guys already know by now, but let's cover the LR Metal Cooler Army stats first and kind of go from there. I am on the Transforming Goku Black stage just to provide a Dokkan event that's more recent in nature, so this is an event that we're going to be testing on. But LR Metal Cooler Army, obviously extreme type, key +3, HP attack and defense increase to 70%, 12 key super attack, as well as the 18 key super, both cause either colossal or a mega colossal damage. 12 key will greatly lower defense, while the 18 key will also increase extreme type allies attack by 30% for one turn. The LR Metal Cooler Army, the only drawback with this unit is you're not going to get the attack and defense increase unless you have pretty good level HP. It's dependent on how much HP you have, and it is increased up to 90%. And the good thing about this unit is the ability to get up to 2 additional attacks. Obviously with the potential system you can get more than that. I went with a level 9 additional attack and level 12 with the criticals, just to kind of get a balanced approach, in between additional attack and then criticals, and it seems to work out pretty well. Let's move on and talk about the other free-to-play units as well. So I did include the strength type, and the pose is different from this version. The only reason why I included this unit is the unit's ability to increase attack by 20% for one turn for extreme type allies as part of the super attack. The passive skill also does help out. Most malevolent clan category allies will get an attack and defense increase of 25%, and also a chance to perform a critical hit plus 5%, so that definitely does help out. The rest of the units, again, do have that 80% max boost toward attack and defense. We'll start out with the physical type version. This one will recover 15% of damage dealt as health, so that definitely does help with the HP recovery in some regard. The tech type will drop attacked enemies attack by 20% for 2 turns, so obviously a good way to buff down damage mitigation a little bit. And then we have the strength type free-to-play unit. This one will also increase allies attack and defense by 15%, so that obviously does help a little bit as well. And then the agility type is pretty much just adds key, +2 key when HP is 50% or above, so a little bit helpful, I guess, with the LR Metal Cooler Army, trying to help out to get that 18 key. However, I will note that it is a lot more difficult to get the 18 key with this team setup, just because some of the link variants are a little bit different with some of these units. The LR Metal Cooler Army definitely does share some link skills, but it's obviously the rest of the free-to-play units are not the best linking buddies for this unit. Again, definitely feel free to check out the other video that I did with the 100% free-to-play, not free-to-play, 100% Metal Cooler team with the actual Agility Metal Cooler lead, because of that 150% definitely does make quite a bit of a difference between the stat boost. I mean, you'll be able to tell. I'd say with the Agility Metal Cooler team, for the free-to-play units, you were looking at about 800,000 in the attack potential, whereas in here, the cap is probably going to be about 430k. So it's definitely a lot less, because you do have to consider it's a 70% lead versus 150% per lead, so it's a pretty significant drop. But however, the team is still okay. I think, for the most part, it's an okay team. It's not the best of teams, obviously, but they can put out enough damage. And the great thing about this setup is they're kind of meant to be ran together. Obviously, with the passive, they get that attack and defense increase of 80%, dependent on how many most Malevolent Clan units you have on the team. And then the passive skills, the secondary passive skills, will help out the rest of the team. Each individual unit has that unique, secondary passive that kind of provides an additional benefit to the team overall. So I kind of like what they did with the Dokkan Awakens with these units. It definitely does provide kind of more of a harmony, I guess is the best word to put it, for the team overall. So, again, I did do a much more optimized version with the proper leads, but since the LR Metal Cooler army did come out on global finally, I figured it'd be the time would be pretty good to do this and test it out, since I haven't done a completely free-to-play team yet. This is actually the first time doing a video for it, so hopefully, I don't exactly know when the story event for Metal Cooler is coming to global. I'm not sure if it's already out or not, but I mean, the grind is definitely a bit of a pain in the ass, because you do have to go through several Dokkan Awakens, and then on top of that, there is a lot of medals that you have to collect. But for me, it wasn't too bad. I think I spent like a weekend doing it, and I was able to get everybody to 100%. So in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't too bad. But you definitely, like I said, you definitely do see a substantial decrease in attack and damage capacity. I mean, that's a given the difference in leader skills. But I think with the 18 key for LR Metal Cooler army, you're still looking at a little over 1 million in terms of attack potential. So that's definitely still a decent number. Defense-wise, they seem to be doing pretty good. The other thing too is their ability to recover HP is definitely a good thing with certain units with the secondary passive skill, but a lot of these units do have the auto regeneration link skill that also that allows for a 3% HP recovery. So if every single unit or most of the units do have that link skill, it's going to help out quite a bit in terms of kind of mitigating damage reduction a little bit. And based on what I'm seeing, it seems like every single unit does have that link skill. So as long as everybody's linked, it doesn't matter how everybody's linked, honestly. They all share that same link skill. So it's definitely a 3% HP recovery every turn. And you kind of see that throughout this video is, there's no real need to use items necessarily. Obviously, this is kind of a good condition setup, but it's definitely a good way to minimize item usage if you're just starting off, playing Dokkan Battle, or you just feel like trying out a team like this, because it is a little bit of a different variant compared to some of the more stronger teams, So it's definitely a pretty interesting team to run. Me personally, I love running this team, but just the leader skill being the agility version of Metal Cooler, just because it is a lot higher boost overall from the leader skill. So I tend to run that team a lot. In addition to that, I probably run the Movie Boss team quite a bit. So between the two, those teams are very fun to run. The Most Malevolent Clan team is a very good team in my opinion, and not only that, but Agility Metal Cooler is a very good unit in my opinion. It's definitely one of my favorites in the game, and I know Gogeta Blue and Broly are probably going to be hitting global much sooner than the Agility Metal Cooler, more than likely. So I understand everybody's probably going to be spending stones toward that, but down the road, the Agility Metal Cooler is definitely a worthwhile unit. Again, falls into a pretty decent amount of categories, has his own leader category, which is the Most Malevolent Clan. Very, very solid category in itself, and it's a lot of fun to run that team. So, yeah, it's definitely a fun team to run. This is obviously not the best team in terms of overall capacity, but it's still a fun team to run regardless. And for those that are completely free to play and whether that's, you know, the true free-to-play format or still using summonable units. You know, these guys could definitely be an option. I haven't tested this team out on Battlefield or anything. I'm not sure how efficient they are, but you know, that could always be reserved for one of the Battlefield stages. You know, maybe one of the lower stages that don't require too much powerful units. You know, it could be a way to solidify, you know, guaranteeing clearing the Battlefield stages. You know, save your better units for later stages. So it's certainly an option. Again, it is kind of a grind. It is a little bit of a pain in the ass to get the medals and, you know, Dokkan Awakens for each unit, all that good stuff. But it's a fun team to run. I'm not going to run it often. If I do, it's definitely going to be the Agility Metal Cooler Elite versus the LR version, just because, you know, we're talking about 70% versus 150% per lead. So that definitely makes quite a bit of a difference. Again, like I said, you're looking at these guys right now putting out about 434,000, I think, is a cap, versus the other team setup. You're able to put out close to 800,000 in attack potential. So it's definitely a much better team overall with that setup. But this one is still pretty fun to run. And I will say this: I love this transforming Goku Black's super attack animation. It might actually be my favorite out of all the transforming units super attack. So I just want to mention that, and maybe subconsciously I picked this stage purposely. I don't know, who the hell knows, but definitely a real tight super attack animation. So again, this is the you know, team setup showcase for the 100% completely free to play Metal Cooler team. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. As always, thanks for watching.